So, welcome to the core. And this is an area that's made up of a lot of modular assets, aka like ones that I can just take here and slap them wherever I want. Some of these were actually from the concept art as well that was done really early on. Like this light over here. The reason why I'm in this mode at the moment is just to kind of give anticipation, because if I just go straight in here, we get to see all the nice lighting and everything else. The funny thing about this is that, like, when we get to the end here, you can see I've been adding the pipe details from outside to make everything look a little bit cooler. But I've cut this entire section up. This is by far one of the most laggy sections I think I've ever done in the entire project, and that's just because of the lights. Like, the lights alone. What I've tried doing with the core is lighting it up pretty much how I interpreted Toby's description, which was entering an area that looks a little bit like a lab or something, and makes you feel uneasy. And I'm like, okay, so what do I get from that description? It was like, I like it being dark, but at the same time, it's like you're able to see a bit. So what we've got is like these pulsing lights that go on. Let's see if I can actually just like play that at the same time. So the entire area pulses on and off as if it's like got life in it, really, and that just continues on for the entire time. So we get this kind of look going on, and then that also hides and then illuminates some of the details as well. Like if we do like 250 for the sake of it, so we can see this going on and on and on. It hides and then illuminates some of the details very nicely, like the pipes that are in the ceiling. I really like those. It's just really cool seeing like that there now, and then it goes off and then it comes back on again. The pipes were added really late in development, primarily because I just didn't like the fact that the walls with all like the tech details and the floor and everything looked really flat, is the best way of putting it. Like, I got all these nice panels that use Sonic Colors textures, and I'm like, yeah, it looks really cool, looks techy, looks sci-fi, what you'd expect of everything. And then did the floor and was like, yeah, okay, this is cool. And then just the surfaces were too flat. And I was like, I need something else in here, so that's when I started copying and pasting the pipes everywhere and then rotating them. Another little thing about this is like every corner like this for the lights and the panels I had to weld by hand because of the way that I was doing it. What was happening was I'd do like an array, which is a list of objects. So I'd do like an array for the lights. So I'd say like along here I want like 15 or 20 lights, and it'd get to about here. And then I'd say the same for this one. And then I'd have to like manually line up the ending lights here, and then merge the vertices. You see it a little bit in the full event video that I did for this, but it was painful. Like, if you can imagine how big the core is and how many corners it has like this, it was rough. It was really rough. I ended up spending forever doing it, but it's worth it. Like, the little details are really cool. I really like them, including the little added floor detail that I just remembered about, which is like when characters are moving around, I'm going to have this like sci-fi tech detail underfoot, so that it kind of gives a little bit more interactivity where the characters are walking. But yeah, and then we've got the starting areas, which again are filled to the brim with lights and pipes and everything. So we've got these giant pylons here that I made based off some artwork that somebody had done online that was really cool. But again, from like different angles and with different lighting setups, you can see all the little details that go into the roof as well. So it looks a lot more detailed than just like flat surfaces. And then we've got all the lights going on, and down below we've got the pits full of like fog, so you can't really tell the depth of it. But I do like the sense of scale that you get from looking upwards. We've got the sort of like Deltarune inspired mechanical emblem thing going on here. It looks a little bit like Luke's as well in the center, thinking about it now. And then we've... The funniest thing was, pulling the Chaos Drive assets here, I think they were from the Model Resource or something. The Chaos Drives from Sonic Adventure 2, I actually used those to fill in details on the walls, because nothing else made sense. And I didn't know what to do. But the funny thing is, if you look at them from a certain angle, everything just like goes white. It's really crazy. It's kind of like looking at those for ages really did my eyes in. Like if I'm looking at the ones to the right of the shot now, they just all look white as if they've got no color in them, even though they do. It's all kinds of messed up. We've got sections that have fully 3D exposed wiring here. I honestly really liked doing that. That was a really cool modular piece that I ended up including. Those are all in the correct areas. And again, when we look at areas that you wouldn't normally see, they're all full of like pipes and things. Then again, this is what I said before about the blocks with the Game Gear style color lights on. There's just tons of those running along here. That's accurate to the game. And then I think I've talked about this in another video, but like the details for the flooring, including like the grid pattern here, and then when we go under the floor, you can see actual 3D details. So that gives a little bit more sense of depth and gives a little bit more cool detail to everything. I really enjoyed doing these bits just because they made everything look really cool, especially with all this lighting going on. Like again here in these small areas where you're expected to fight, say like Night or whatever, we've included the different pipes or whatever, so that it just gives a little bit more extra detail. And then we go on, and as we continue down here, we do have the I do have the laser light things going on. You know, the laser trip wire things here. The thing is, they're not on at the moment. Like, I didn't do the effect for them right now, so it's one of those things where I was like, oh, I'll get round to it, but it's not important too much for the demo. We got these concept art style lights going on. I just thought they were cool and added a little bit more, again, a little bit more detail and different lighting solution to the overall look, because it's a lot of like red and blue lighting. I was like, you know what, a little bit of yellow here is going to be nice. We can just about see the floating laser orb things here that look pretty cool. Those I ended up getting from like somebody's artwork yet again, and then just modeling them. They're not too bad, not too high poly if I remember rightly. And then I just arrayed them, and then I can mess around with them and make them float up and down if I want. And then the bridge section again is from like Sonic Generations if I remember rightly. I took the texture from Sonic and Shadow's fight sequence for like one of the bridge areas, and then I just used that and then modeled the portion of the bridge and then just arrayed it and then put that texture on it, so it looked pretty cool. And then this is where it ends here. The idea being the shot would end roughly about here because of the next room being in here. We'll load up the next room now because I need that. So here's the file for the core, the second segment. Let's just make sure the animation doesn't go too far so I can show you this with the lighting on. Let's do timeline for a moment. Yeah, it's 250, that's fine. Do layout. Just find out where the actual object is here. It's totally fine, no big deal. But yeah, you can see the fog that I'm using. And we go all the way back over to here. And this is where the other file would end. And then we cut to here, and we got all these pipes going on in the walls again. And as we turn in, we got some more red lights running around. And this is the main hub area for the core. And I spent a lot of time doing all these like little details, made them all look 3D. Carrying on the same sort of like asset use all over the place, and then again just filling up like the walls and the ceiling with more of the pipes to make everything look really cool. That's where the ice is meant to come out of. I've got the conveyor belt set up, I just need to actually have the ice coming out of there now. And then again, we've got the fog that really does help sell the idea that this is like really deep. The idea was like in some versions of this, I think I mentioned in the event video about the VR chat version being kind of tiny and feeling a little bit claustrophobic. Whereas with this, I wanted this kind of like really high ceiling, really long death drop style look to it, so it really kind of messes around with your perspective a little bit. And again, it's got to read familiar. You know, you got to know roughly where you are or how it would look just with this new coat of paint on it. And again, I'm really liking the way that this all looks, like the screens and everything. It's so nice. I I'm. It's still crazy for the simple fact of the frame rate issue that I had, but I do like how the lighting really helps sell the kind of like mysterious, frightening aspect of this. We've got the going across the bridge here to hit this button, and as we turn around, you can get to see all the pipes that dot like the ceiling and everything when the lights come back on, and then go around here, and this is close to where we'd have that fence for the buttons where you'd press it and you'd be able to get through here. We've got the other sections of like screen going on here, and then we go along here past the pylons, past this area that has all the red running lights on it along the ceiling where you can see all these other pipes and stuff that looks really cool. I ended up arraying a simple model for some handrails here so that you don't fall off over the edge. But then we get to the end and this is where it cuts off. You get to see a little bit more of the wall details and everything with the light being there. There's the elevator that goes up, and then that cuts off into nothingness, so we can cut to the next shot, which is the final area. But again, if we go into like this for a moment, I can show you the wireframe, or at least show you the details. We've got, where is it? Wireframe. I really enjoyed this because like the overall model is simple, but then you throw in like all these pipes everywhere, and you start seeing how much more detailed it gets. Like here we go. So we got like this section with a bunch of lights on it, and then again we got all this stuff going on, and you just see how detailed the roof is, plus all of the little pylon things, which goes down into nothing. You know, it's like the fog really helps sell the idea that they just vanish, so that I don't have to like model them for absolutely forever, because there's no point. And then in here, I think I used a ton of pipes just to make up that detail, and then when the light comes on, that's when they really shine. It's all really kind of simple modeling. That's just, even with the pipes, I lowered the polygon count as much as possible, and then just covered that up with textures and stuff, and then just used them as effectively as possible to make up all these details. And then this is the final bit of the core. You get to see the textures a little bit here, the Sonic Colors style textures that I edited, and the pipes on the wall and everything. But when we come in here, this is again Toriel hiding up in here to help with the scaling and everything. And then the doorway that I made. We've got these two giant connecting bridges, and the idea for this was that I try and emulate the way that the entire platform raises up, which is why we've got the lights and stuff going on in the ceiling there. But I do like how this is set up like this. It looks kind of like, oh, what's going on here? And then I don't know whether I did the animation for this one or not, but there's a version that's animated. Maybe it's the demo one. I'll just open that one now. The demo one has a really cool thing that I thought about when I was trying to figure out like how I would make it interesting during the fight, and what I would do to get it to look cool. And the idea is that when we go into this, the entire floor just like opens up because it was like, how do you make it cool? It's like, okay, the floor opens up either side, and the walkways retract, and then the entire thing shoots up. And I thought that was pretty neat as a way of figuring out what the heck's going on with the pillar. Like you can see it here how the entire thing is set up. If I just go to this for a moment, the entire texture of the center pillar changes as well, and so does the lighting around the outside to look like it's activated, like in the boss fight. And then we've got the same sort of lighting set up. And then what I plan on doing is like holographic screens all over the place that show the score and everything, and different monsters from the underground cheering Metaton on. But yeah, I really like this one. Again, it's more Final Fantasy inspired. I can't even remember which part I looked at for this, but I got the idea that it would be pretty fun, and then had like some lighting down here. I'm not sure whether it's that intense here or whether it's like later on, but when it first opens up, that's when you get a nice intense blue glow, or is it? You only see it for a little bit, just there, around the edges, but it highlights the underneath, and then shows a little bit of the fog, and then bam, just goes straight up, and that's where we get to the cool fight with Metaton.